everybody, welcome back to the Callista Quarantine Kitchen. Tonight we're going to be cooking cauliflower and purple broccoli with cheese sauce and a crusty topping. Please remember to cook with an adult supervising you. Now the purple broccoli we have to cook with tonight is from our beautiful kitchen garden at school, and I didn't know very much about purple broccoli, but I have just been reading up about it and it's very, very good for you. And I think this is going to be really delicious with the cauliflower cheese. So, also known as winter broccoli, this has a nice nutty and peppery flavour, and it's very high in vitamin C, vitamin A, vitamin K, folate, B vitamins, manganese and iron. So really good for you and super delicious. So this dish would be okay to serve just on its own or with a side of some more veggies, or we are actually having it tonight with roast chicken and roast veggies. So let's start. So to begin with, we're going to just take some of the leaves off the broccoli and we're going to steam it. So I have a saucepan on the stove with some boiling water ready to go, and I'm just going to clean these up a little bit because I cut them from the garden with some scissors. So you don't need to have really small pieces for this. I kind of like it a little bit chunky. The colour's beautiful. I'm not sure if you can see how purple the tips of that are. Now, one of the benefits of using this kind of broccoli in a dish like this is that it actually retains its textural integrity better than broccoli does. So that means it doesn't go as mushy. So I think it will be good. So that's ready to go. And again with the cauliflower, I'm not even going to cut it. I'm just going to break it into kind of chunks, because it's all going to go into a big baking dish anyway. Not sure if I'm going to be able to fit it all. Oh, I can't break that one. So I'm going to pop that in the pot and I'm going to steam it. I'm only going to lightly steam it for about 10 minutes so that it becomes sort of soft but not cooked, because you're going to put it in the oven afterwards and you don't want it to turn to mush. The next thing we're going to do is prepare everything we need to make our cheese sauce. So we're going to make a proper cheese sauce, traditionally from a roux. So we are going to start with measuring out our ingredients that we need. So the first thing we are going to put in is flour. Plain flour. I'm using plain, just white spelt flour. You can use gluten-free flour or just normal plain flour or any kind of flour really. So this is what thickens the sauce, 4 tablespoons. Now, as usual, I'm making a double recipe of this, so if you have a smaller family, maybe go for a half recipe. Unless you like leftovers of cauliflower cheese, which I think are always a good thing. Okay, we're going to measure out 300 grams of grated cheese. I'm just using a blend of cheese. This is really nice with Gruyere cheese, but I forgot to buy it. Now when we use that in the sauce, we're actually going to keep some aside for the topping as well. So I'm going to put 3 cups of milk into this container, and we're going to heat it before we make the sauce. You can make it with cold milk, but it's less prone to getting lumps if you use the milk heated up. So again, if you're making a smaller batch, you need 1.5 cups. So that's ready to go onto the stove. And the last thing we need to make the roux is butter. So I'm just going to put that onto my scales so they don't get greasy. And then I'm going to remember that I didn't get a knife. And grab one. So 80 grams of butter. Oh, close. Perfect. Okay, so I am going to pop this on to heat up, and then I'm going to move all of this over to the stove, and we're going to move over there because we're going to make this overheat. So our veggies have been steaming for 10 minutes, so I'm going to take them off now, carefully, because they're very hot. And I'm just going to pop them into a tray, and then I'm going to put them aside. It doesn't matter if they go cold because we're going to put the sauce over the top of them. Just mix it up a little bit. Okay, so that is ready for sauce to go on top. And now we will make the sauce. So just a medium-sized pot on a medium flame. I have my milk warming as well. I'm not going to let it boil. As soon as it looks like it's starting to heat up, I'm actually going to turn it off. Okay, so to start with, we're going to put the butter in this pan and melt it. It looks like a lot of butter. Won't take too long to melt. And then we're going to add the flour. So when we add the flour, this is roux, a traditional French way of cooking. We want to cook the flour out a little bit in the butter so that we don't have a floury taste through our cheese sauce or bechamel. Right. So as you stir these together, you can see it kind of looks a little bit, I don't know, like this. So you don't want to cook it out until it starts colouring, but you do want to cook the flour a little. So I'm going to keep it moving. I might cook this for another minute or two, I think. Okay, I'm quite happy with the way that looks. Alright, I'm going to turn it down a little bit. And then I'm going to start adding our warm milk. But I'm going to add it bit by bit. So I'll turn the heat off under there. And as I add it, I'm going to whisk it. I'm sure you guys can see that it's thickening up really quickly. The reason it happens so quickly is because your milk's already hot. If you do it with cold milk, you have to wait for the milk to heat between each addition, which is fine also, it's not a problem, but it does slow the process quite a lot. Be really careful with the hot milk, you don't want to splash it. Once the milk's added in, you can add in your cheese. So we're going to add probably, I think maybe 3/4 of the cheese, and we'll retain the rest to sprinkle on the top. Now I'm actually going to switch from my whisk back to my wooden spoon, because you don't want any catching in the sides, so you kind of need to make sure it's all moving through. Oops. Maybe this is a better idea. There we go. So now just stirring that cheese through, and it will melt reasonably quickly. Turn it off the heat, and we'll take it back over here and finish it off. So this is the bechamel ready to go. Cheese is melted. It smells really yummy. I'm going to take some nutmeg and grate some nutmeg into it. I'll use a little bit of nutmeg tonight, I think. This recipe calls for the quantity we're doing, for a whole nutmeg. So, nutmeg is added. I'm also going to put some cracked black pepper. Just to taste, and a little bit of salt. It's so sticky, but it smells amazing. Alright, so now I'm going to pour this over our vegetables. It's so cheesy. Yum. Then I'm going to top it with some breadcrumbs. So you can use proper breadcrumbs that you make from bread, or you can use store-bought breadcrumbs. I'm using panko style breadcrumbs tonight. These are gluten-free ones. They're a little different to normal breadcrumbs because they're a little bit chunkier, and I think they'll be nice on this. So just a bit of a sprinkle, a bit of a crust on top. So you get a nice crusty kind of top on the top, and the leftover cheese. Alright, so that is now ready to go into the oven. I think I'll bake that for about 20 minutes. Okay, so our broccoli cauliflower cheese is ready. I'm going to take it out of the oven. It is perfectly browned and nice and crispy on the top, nice crust on the top, and it looks and smells delicious. So if you try the recipe, don't forget to post your photos on Facebook on the Learn at Home page. I think this one will be quite popular because it's very delicious. Have a great week, and I will see you next week in the quarantine kitchen. Bye.